Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Mail. So for today, I'm going to do a very entertaining email I sent from a subscriber. You are definitely going to get your money's worth today. This is from a guy. He is, I believe, 35 years old, married for, sounds like probably close to a decade, 2 kids, good life, good marriage, all that. And he shares this story from this weekend, just a few days ago, about how his son's 7th birthday party was almost ruined thanks to his obnoxious effing his sister. His sister, who is a few years older than him, I think he said she's 38, is one of these types, as they usually are, that can never shut up about politics, is always debating people, just a really unpleasant pain in the butt, is always posting her politics and views on social media, and just a jerk. There's no other way to put it, as they usually are. And she used his son's birthday party to make a political point about something, as you'll see, darn near ruining it for the kid and humiliating him. But thanks to our guy here's quick thinking, and not to mention his wife, who's very cool, you're all going to like, saved the day, and things did not end too well for her. And I thought this would be a very good one to go over here. There's really no major lesson in this, other than the fact that you got somebody in your life, particularly family, because this is a story about family, who's just a very negative, unpleasant person to be around, who creates drama, and is someone like her, particularly is always starting debates and arguments, particularly about politics. I don't care whether it's family or not. There's a point where they don't cut it out. I say cut them out of your life. It's not worth it. And you're going to see, oh, she's out of this guy's life. Most certainly won't mess with his wife. So it starts off, he says here, hey, SSM. I never thought that I would have a reason to write into your channel, and then the events this weekend took place. Ordinarily, your stories are about women behaving badly and the guys that finally do get rid of them. My story is about 2 women in my life, one that is an exception and is great, and the other that has truly proven herself to be a piece of garbage. These women are my older sister Leslie and my wife Annabelle. Okay, well obviously we know who the piece of garbage is in this story. The events of this story happened this past weekend at my son Alex's 7th birthday party, where my effing sister attempted to ruin his party and humiliate my son for her own personal politics, and my wife nearly kicking the crap out of her. But before I get into the story, let me give you some background into both of them. First off, my sister Leslie. As I stated, she is your typical late 30s, big mouth, unhappy effinist. Sounds about right. Oh, and to no surprise, she has never been married. She always says that marriage is a patriarchal institution, but most likely because no guy could stand her long enough to be married to her. Exactly. Hell, doesn't sound like she even has a boyfriend. And probably she does. He's probably the most, think of the stereotype. Man buns and man purses and skinny jeans, and I can go on and on forever here. Physically, she does not necessarily look the part. She doesn't have green or blue hair or anything like that, no nose rings or visible tattoos. She is, however, about 20 pounds overweight, has long graying hair, and certainly does not dress very feminine. So in other words, she just doesn't take care of herself and just, she was a tomboy growing up, played lots of softball and field hockey, and definitely by college was getting roped into the typical liberal school crap. Sounds about right. Oh, I'm sure she was a picnic to deal with in 2016 and 2020 and 2024. As an adult, she's one of those people who has to bring up politics whenever she can. On Facebook, she's always posting political crap. I blocked her post a long time ago. My parents love her, but she drives them crazy, especially my father. My 2 younger brothers aren't big fans of her either, as there's a big age gap. She's 38, and they are 27 and 29, with me 35. Overall, the family tolerates her, but if my parents weren't here, I would not be inviting her to any family events at my house, as she's a big negative downer. Yeah, there you go. But obviously, after this weekend's events, she won't be going anywhere near your property. Otherwise, your wife is probably going to do some things that get you probably thrown in prison. You reach a point, guys, that as you get older, and the guys post 40 will agree with this, the older you get, the fewer and fewer amount of tolerance you have for bullcrap, even family. A lot of people are like, well, it's family, Gotta stay loyal to family. If you got people that are just pieces of garbage or just negative and downers in what you're about to see here, cut them off. Life, it's not worth. Life's too short. Additionally, and more relevant to the story, she is definitely not a fan of my kids. I also have a 5-year-old daughter. It's obvious. While she's never mean to them, she definitely doesn't go out of her way for them or want to have any relationship with them. On Christmas and birthdays, she'll give an emotionless card with a very small amount of cash until this year. Yep, wait till you see what happens, guys, with regards to the gift and the son here. Let you all speculate how this is going to go. Now on to my wife, Annabelle. My wife is the polar opposite of my older sister. She is 33 years old, a southern girl who is quite feminine, takes great care of herself, loves her family, and is fiercely loyal to her family. Sounds like a great wife. She comes from a very kind, tight-knit family. My wife is also petite. She's 5'1" to be exact, but don't let her petite, feminine frame fool you. She can be a firecracker if anyone crosses her or threatens or harms someone she loves. Think of the movie The Blind Side and Sandra Bullock's character. Okay, that can make sense, although her character is a little bit, I don't know, a little too much of a hard ass for me, but that can be useful when at the time is right, and that's going to happen here. So I'm guessing your wife's just that way when she's crossed. I also like to point out that while she's very feminine, she does like to go camping, hiking, and shoot guns. Definitely a southern girl. Dude, does she have a twin? If so, send her my email. To no surprise, my wife and sister are not friends. Really? No way they could ever get along. They can be cordial, if you call it that, to each other at family gatherings, but obviously cannot stand each other. And it won't surprise you to hear that they are definitely on the exact opposite sides of the political spectrum. The only difference is that my wife next to never talks about politics unless it's close to election day and will be respectful of other people's views. My sister, on the other hand, loves to bring it up at any opportunity, and there's only one view, her view. Big fucking surprise. And you say they're opposites of the political spectrum. Well, obviously, your sister is, I think we can all agree, the far left. Your wife does not sound like she's far right. She's because she, will actually listen to people's opinions and respect things and not talk about it all the fucking time. I don't like anybody that is obsessed and talk about it all the fucking time, no matter what, Anyhow, now that you have some background on my family, I'm sure you can guess who I was referring to when I said one is a piece of garbage and the other is great. Well, yeah. Well, last Saturday, we had my son's 7th birthday party. My son is a well-liked kid and has darn close to 15 boys over at the house, including a lot of family. My wife and I do well, and we have a swimming pool that we put in 2 years ago, so it was a pretty big pool party. That's awesome, man. Your son's going to be instantly the popular kid always because he can have people over to swim in the pool. And then when he's in junior high and high school, he'll start having girls over, and yeah, I wish I had a pool growing up. That would have helped me substantially. So here we are with the kids running around everywhere, jumping in and out of the pool, my dad and I on the grill. It was an overall good time. In the house, everybody dropped off presents in the family room. My son was going to make out like a bandit this year. My wife was also enjoying being the hostess and making sure everybody was having a good time. Sounds like a blast. What could go wrong? Oh yeah, your sister hasn't arrived yet. Well, about an hour into the day-long party, my sister arrives. You can probably hear like the Darth Vader music as the bitch is showing up on your property. When she was walking in, I could see that she had a bright red present in her hand. I certainly took notice of this, as she never gave the kids actual presents due to her views on kids' toys. If I had known what was going to happen, I would have thrown both her and the little present out of my house for good. Her view on kids' toys? Well, he'll get more into that in a moment. You guys can probably guess what I'm talking about here, or referring to. Well, a couple hours later, we were going to do presents and cake. My son was all too happy to see all the loot he got from his buddies. As he was opening them, I could see the annoyed look on Leslie's face. Well, isn't that probably her look all the time? Well, on more than a few occasions at Christmas or birthday parties, she would bitch and complain about the toys that the kids play with. She would talk about how little girls were always given dolls and cooking toys, etc., while boys were always given action figures, sports, and guy stuff. Of course. Of course she's one of those. And by the way, none of her freaking business. Who cares? They're not your kids. And thank God she doesn't have kids. She would also say things like kids should be given, oh God, gender-neutral toys, and said boys should even learn to play with dolls, and girls could play with action figures like boys. Man. Guys, there's people out there like this. Again, thank God she doesn't have children. This would usually result in someone telling her to eventually just shut up and mind her own business, and would stop until the next birthday or Christmas. Why the hell did you tolerate this chick? I don't care if it made maybe your parents happy and stuff like that. It's obvious nobody likes her, you know? But you're younger and, there's always different family dynamics. Oh boy, wait till you hear what happens next, guys. Well, anyway, my son was tearing open the presents so fast you'd think he was trying to win a contest. I then saw he got to my sister's present. Again, I remembered the bright red package, as it was surprising to see my sister actually bring a gift for one of my kids. What happened next made me feel like time stood still. My son tore open the present, and there it was, a brand new packaged Barbie doll. For God's sakes. She gave him a freaking Barbie doll, and worse yet, in front of all his friends. Do you know how badly that could screw up a kid, and kids making fun of him and all that stuff like it? Obviously to make her political point. For a split second, there was silence and shock, and then out of nowhere, 15 boys bursted out in total laughter. What I tell you. Yeah. My son looked so embarrassed, I should have known something was up. Man, I'm telling you, if I was there and that was my kid, she wouldn't be walking. I've been thanking God that I was 2 feet away from him when this all went down. I immediately said something to the effect of, "Oh, this isn't your present. This was a gift for your sister." Nice save, Dad. I immediately took it and gave it to his sister. She was delighted. I gotta know, what kind of Barbie was this? Was this like feminist Barbie, activist Barbie? Did this Barbie have blue hair, green hair, women's Barbie or whatever? Or just a regular Barbie? Find out, I want to know. I can't believe I'm thinking that. That calmed the boys down a bit, but my son was still red in the face out of embarrassment. I then said, "Let's get some cake." That immediately took all the boys' minds off the Barbie fiasco, and they went stampeding into the kitchen. I also must say, thank God my son is the popular kid. If he wasn't, this could have turned out really bad with a bunch of 7-year-old boys. While I took care of distracting them with the cake, a whole other stampede was happening in the family room. You mean your sister's about to get a major ass kicking, and it's warranted. What happened next, I wish I'd been in the room. While I was giving slices of cake and ice cream to 15 hungry jackals, my wife was handling my sister. Apparently, according to the spectators, my wife wasted no time in charging after my sister. Apparently, she stormed at her, grabbed her by her hair, pulled her down to my wife's 5'1" frame, and told her to get the fuck away from my family. Awesome. A side note here, my wife next to never curses. To hear her say the F word says everything. My sister was in such shock, she didn't even move. Right there, perfect example of a fucking bully. You said your wife's 5'1". I'm guessing your sister is obviously taller than 5'1". You said played softball and field hockey or whatever the hell it was, and yet your little petite wife charges her, whoosh, grabs her by her fucking hair, and she's frozen. Yeah, she didn't think this would happen. And let's take a moment here to address the fact here that she was no problem humiliating your son to make her freaking point because she's pissed off about the toys that kids get. That is evil. She is a piece of shit. Man, I'm sure there would be 1,000 dudes watching this right now that would stand in line for a week to have 10 seconds doing what they got to do. I'm sure my 4% women here would love to get their hands on some... Who the fuck does that? God damn. Anyway, my sister was in such shock that she didn't move. My wife then practically dragged her by her hair out the front door, telling her to never come here or near her kids again. Man, I'm liking your wife. That's the Sandra Bullock from The Blind Side coming out there. Again, SSM, I would have given anything to witness that. Too bad no one was recording it. You'd think someone would whip out their phone. And then after feeding the kids with cake came the aftermath. Some family didn't quite get what was going on. My still furious wife and I had to bring them up to speed that Leslie did this on purpose. That she clearly gave my son a fucking Barbie doll to make a point about kids and what she considers to be appropriate toys. She used our son's birthday to make a political point and didn't care about humiliating him. Well, you know, I would have loved to hear that your wife started giving her a freaking beatdown. That would have been great, but Leslie would probably sue her, and you don't need that. By and large, most family got it and understood where we both agree, but we both agree that she will never be invited to any family gathering held by us ever again. We put up with her bullshit for years out of family loyalty, not anymore. Plus, if she ever set foot within 100 feet of my wife, I may be visiting my wife in prison for the rest of her life. It's always the petite women. You ever notice that, guys? It's always a really tiny women that, man, when they get pissed, it's like, holy shit. You know, it's like an angry fucking Smurf. It's like, god damn. I mean, they go off. I'm happy to say that after this whole Barbie fiasco, the rest of the party went pretty well. The boys let it go and they stuffed their faces with cake. My son was thrilled with his new arsenal of toys, and my daughter loves the new Barbie doll. Hey, there you go. Again, I want to know what kind of Barbie this is. I gotta say, in hindsight, I should have put my sister in her place a long time ago when more and more of her negativity and feminist BS was becoming a problem. I agree. Smack for tolerating all that crap. But you're a cool guy. Yeah, you know, I dish out one smack in this video. My mistake can be a story for you guys to nip things like this in the bud and keep these miserable people out of your life, regardless if they're family or not. Thanks again for everything, SSM. Have a great rest of your summer. Zach. And P.S. My wife also likes your channel, but I'm sure that doesn't surprise you. Your wife's freaking cool, and I especially like her when she did to your sister. There you go, guys. Keep these freaking assholes away from your family, your life, and all that. Again, you know how badly that could have turned out? I mean, good thinking, Dad, to immediately be like, oh, this is a present for your sister. Here you go. There was a mistake. And getting those boys out of there to think on cake. Even at 7 years old, boys can be influenced by their stomach above anything else. But what an asshole. God almighty. But I'd love to hear what happened more after that. It's only been a few days, but still, I want to hear more about this because there ain't no way it's over. You said your dad is not a big fan of her. What about your mom? What about, there's got to be some other people in the family that sympathize some way with her. Because he said most of the family got it. But regardless, I'm glad most of them, you know. But by the way, I guarantee you, she's going to try to show up eventually. Or wait till you have a family gathering at somebody else's house like your parents. Is she going to show up? How's that going to go with your wife? And obviously, there's been no mention of any type of apology. But of course, people like that always think they're right and so forth. But again, to do that to your kid, and again, thank God the kid's popular and they were able to roll it off, you know. But man, shit. But, bro, anyhow, that was a good story, and I definitely appreciate it. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And, guys, you got a great story you want to share, or you find a good news article you want me to cover, send my way, strongsuccessfulmail@gmail.com. And also, guys, be sure to come over and check me out on Locals or Patreon, the men's community I'm building over there. You can come over and join for free and see what it's all about. See what I'm posting, comment, if you will, on certain ones. Or become a paying member and get exclusive videos 2 to 3 days a week when I don't normally post on here, as well as commercial-free content and all my stuff over there for free with no annoying commercials, and it's a censorship-free environment. And a sales pitch. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.